Right now, in the heart of downtown Los Angeles, 3 skyscrapers stand directly across from Crypto.com Arena, abandoned. A $1.2 billion development sits as hollow concrete shells, tagged with graffiti 27 stories high, visible to every car on the 110 and every fan walking into LA Live. Someone just offered $470 million to save them, but finishing could cost another $1 billion, and the clock is already running out. Across from the lights and crowds of Crypto.com Arena, 3 unfinished towers rise above Figueroa Street. Their concrete shells stretch nearly 700 feet into the sky, but inside, nothing moves. Graffiti climbs the balconies, some tags reaching 27 stories high. A silent broadcast of abandonment in the heart of downtown Los Angeles. The towers loom over one of the city's busiest districts, surrounded by packed sidewalks and the constant churn of traffic, yet they stand empty. No workers, no residents, no hotel guests. Every day, thousands pass by. The plaza was meant to be a symbol of new ambition, a centerpiece for the city's future. Now it's a reminder of promises broken in plain sight. How does a billion-dollar project designed to anchor an entire neighborhood end up frozen like this? So visible, so unfinished, so impossible to ignore. In 2013, a company called China Oceanwide Holdings bought an entire city block in downtown Los Angeles for a reported $174 million. Their vision was anything but modest. Instead of just another glass tower, they planned a sprawling complex that would stretch the limits of what downtown could become. 3 skyscrapers, with the tallest rising 49 stories and reaching 677 feet, taller than almost anything around it. The blueprints called for 504 luxury condos, a Park Hyatt hotel with 184 rooms, and a 2-acre sky park perched 9 floors above the street. At ground level, 166,000 square feet of retail space would lure shoppers and tourists, promising a new urban heartbeat just steps from the arena crowds. The design even included a 2-story LED ribbon, a glowing band meant to wrap the towers in light and broadcast their presence across the city. Altogether, the project was set to cost $1.2 billion, a number so large it's hard to grasp, equal to building several small towns at once. Oceanwide Plaza was pitched as a flagship, a statement of intent. Not just another luxury address, but a magnet for global capital, new residents, and the kind of attention that could transform a neighborhood overnight. What happens when that much ambition collides with reality? The future of Oceanwide Plaza always depended on a steady flow of cash from China. For years, money moved across borders like water through a pipe, fueling cranes, paying workers, buying steel, glass, and concrete by the truckload. But in 2017, that pipe started to close. Beijing issued new rules that put real estate projects like Oceanwide in a restricted category. By 2018, every large transfer faced tight quotas and extra scrutiny. Suddenly, it was no longer possible to send millions abroad with a single wire. The flow slowed, then sputtered. Subcontractors kept working, but payments stopped arriving. According to Los Angeles County records, by early 2019, unpaid bills stacked up to nearly $98.6 million in mechanics liens. Electricians, drywall crews, concrete suppliers, all waiting for checks that never came. The warning signs weren't hidden. They were written into court filings and stamped onto the property records. When the money stopped, the work stopped. The towers, once symbols of limitless ambition, began to look more like stalled dreams, caught between two worlds and already slipping towards silence. On January 24, 2019, a cold email landed in the inbox of Len Lee's, the main contractor. The message was blunt: all interior work at Oceanwide Plaza would be suspended immediately. Workers had just 72 hours to wind down a project that had once promised to change the face of downtown Los Angeles. There was no gradual slowdown, just a sudden order to secure loose rebar, cap open elevator shafts, and strip out temporary power. The towers were left raw, with exposed concrete and gaping voids where windows and walls should have gone. No one sealed the buildings against the rain, the dust, or the wind. Instead of pausing in a finished state, the site became a skeleton, open to the elements, vulnerable, and silent. By late 2019, the temporary pause had quietly become a long-term suspension. Crews vanished. Inspections were cancelled without explanation. Lend-Lease left holding the bag, pulled back to a skeleton staff for basic security. The years passed. In November 2022, the last of the cranes disappeared from the skyline, a quiet admission that nothing more would rise here, at least for now. What does it mean when a billion-dollar promise is left to rust in the open air, its future sealed off by silence? In early 2024, the towers crossed a line that no developer ever wants to see. Graffiti artists, some barely out of their teens, scaled the exposed concrete and tagged their names up to the 27th floor. Their work wasn't hidden in shadows, it was broadcast in broad daylight, visible for miles, impossible to ignore. Within days, social media erupted. The nickname spread. The Graffiti Towers. What started as a stalled project now became a spectacle, a kind of public dare. Videos surfaced of people slipping through broken fences, climbing service ladders, and dangling from balconies. LAPD reports logged at least a dozen arrests tied to trespassing and vandalism. In February, a pair of base jumpers leapt from the roof, their descent captured on YouTube for millions to watch. Then, on May 16th, a slackline performer walked 80 feet between the towers, 500 feet above the street, turning the abandoned shells into his own high-wire stage. What does it say about a city's ambitions when its most expensive towers become a playground for thrill-seekers and a canvas for strangers with spray cans? The Graffiti Towers weren't just abandoned, they were claimed, repurposed, and transformed into a symbol of public disrespect. The line between failed promise and urban entertainment had been crossed. The towers now stood as a monument to what happens when money, ambition, and reality collide, and the world is left to watch. Court records and bankruptcy filings lay out a tangled web of debt that now defines Oceanwide Plaza. In June 2023, the main EB5 lender filed for foreclosure, claiming more than $157 million remained unpaid. The EB5 program, designed to let foreign investors trade money for green cards, drew in over 200 families whose hopes now hang in limbo. Their funds pooled into the project were supposed to buy not just concrete and steel, but a new life in America. Instead, they bought a stake in a stalled skeleton. By February 13, 2024, the debt mountain triggered an involuntary Chapter 11 bankruptcy case. In plain terms, Chapter 11 is a legal freeze, a court-imposed pause that sorts out who gets paid first and who must wait. At the top of the pile sits the EB5 lender. Lend-Lease, the main contractor, claims about $185 million for work left unpaid. Dozens of subcontractors and suppliers, electricians, drywall crews, concrete companies have filed their own liens, each hoping to claw back a share. Layered on top are tax liens from Los Angeles County, adding millions more to the total. All told, the site is burdened with roughly $400 million in obligations. Every dollar owed is a claim on whatever future the towers might have. Any new buyer faces more than an unfinished project, they inherit a battlefield. The order in which creditors are paid is not just a technicality, it is a fight that will decide who recovers something and who walks away with nothing. What kind of future can be built on top of so much financial wreckage? When a city's most ambitious towers become a monument to unpaid promises, who would dare to pick up the pieces? On February 26, 2026, a new name appeared in the court filings: Kali Chaudhuri, founder of KPC Group, backed by Lend-Lease, the project's original contractor. Their offer, $470 million for the entire site, was less than half the original construction cost. According to bankruptcy documents, this bid included the promise to take on all the tangled debts, from EB5 investors to unpaid contractors and tax liens. But even if the sale closed, finishing the towers would require far more. Reports from the bankruptcy court and city planning files estimate that another $865 million to $1 billion could be needed just to bring the buildings to life. That means the real price tag, after years of decay, could approach $2 billion, almost double the amount already sunk into concrete and steel. The gap is staggering. The $470 million bid sounds enormous, but in the world of unfinished skyscrapers, it covers only what's already been lost. The rest is a gamble. Will new capital show up, or will the towers remain empty? City officials, including Mayor Karen Bass and Councilwoman Isabel Jurado, have publicly supported a fast sale, insisting that the site must be activated before the 2028 Olympics. Yet in May, the city filed its own objections, warning that KPC had not provided enough detail about where the money would come from or how construction would actually restart. According to city records, no detailed financing package or phased construction plan had been submitted. The bankruptcy judge postponed the confirmation hearing, pushing the timeline deeper into uncertainty. The Olympic deadline hangs over every decision. With the world spotlight approaching, civic leaders face a dilemma: push the sale through and hope for a miracle, or risk letting the towers stand as a monument to unfinished ambition. Will a $470 million rescue revive the dream, or just paint over the scars of a decade-long collapse? The answer, for now, is buried in legal filings and unanswered questions. The towers still watch over Figueroa Street, waiting, silent, and unfinished. What does it mean when a city's most expensive promise can't be saved by money alone? Tonight, 3 unfinished towers loom over downtown, $1.2 billion frozen in concrete and debt. According to court filings, hundreds of creditors wait as the legal battle drags on. When ambition curdles into ruin, who pays the price? The skyline remembers. The city lives with the question. Share your thoughts below.